This episode has been brought to you by CompleteNutra.com, whole family nutrition.
I touch on some of these things in my book, Firesong, as well.
Yeah, tell us about your book,
and then I try to hit a few resources in there for you as well. There's a ton of research you can do on this.
Tell us a little bit about your book, Firesong.
Well, thanks for asking that. Firesong, the subtitle is Rediscovering the Ancient Melody. And what I try to do in Firesong is help us to remember who we were meant to be, and therefore who we are as those created by God in and for a relationship with him. And so I chase back kind of the underpinnings of Christianity, much like I'm doing in this Undeniable Realities Theotalk series, but I put a little more meat on the bones and give you a chance to consider, well, what do I believe about God, and what does make the most sense, and what about my deepest intuitions and desires? And I really believe, when all is said and done, that our deepest intuitions and desires can't be satisfied apart from the person of Jesus and the story he told, the story he embodied, and really the gospel that he brings, that calls us back to the ancient way, to who we were, because that's really who we long to be. And I explained how we went from there to here, how we fell away from that place, and how God in many ways wants to take us back to Eden, back to the way we were when we were in a right relationship with him, with ourselves and one another. And so with that as kind of the underlying motif, I add in a lot of the answers to questions that you've been asking today, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's something keeps coming back to me is remember to remember, because I think a lot of times we learn something and then we forget it when life happens. We kind of move on, and then we're like, wait, I think I did know that. I knew that before.
Right. And the idea of the ancient melody is that it's a song we never learned, but we once knew by heart. Right. It's a song we sang together in Eden to the glory of God, when we were flourishing, when we didn't feel this angst and brokenness, this vertical or horizontal brokenness. Mm-hmm. And so how do we get back to that? How do we get back? And what's interesting is that the whole world wants to get back there. Everybody has an idea of how we get back there. What I try to do is to rediscover the ancient melody, the ancient story that defines us, so that we can go back there and then move forward into the next chapter of that story.
Really practical aspect about my relationship with Jesus, and that is, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm really busy. Jesus allows me to not sweat the small stuff, or really not sweat the big stuff either, because when I really understand the truth that God's got it. I mean, when I look at the Old Testament, I get so encouraged. The God Jehovah standing behind the people who just say, okay, the people who agree to have the one and only God stand behind them. And the cool part about that is I don't have to do things in my own power anymore. I can ask God for help, and I can rely on my intuition pointing me towards the direction that I should go. And I think God works in my life with nudges or inspirations. And like you had said once, love God, do as you please. Not in a weird way, but when you love God, your desires are lined up with the desires of God. And what are the desires of God? Love God, love others, serve others.
Yeah.
It feels ultimately that's what life is or should be about, because when we make life about ourselves, it doesn't turn out right. When we make life about only others, just like a humanitarian, a lot of times even the Bible says, hey, if you give charity and you tell people you gave and they say good job, then that's on the Sermon on the Mount. You got your reward already. And it's like, if you want to give so one hand doesn't see what the other is doing. Give in secret, because we're not trying to get rewards here. Now, the golden rule Jesus talks about that too. The golden rule does say, do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Now, sometimes what we want done to us may not be what other people want done to them. But I think the idea of what Jesus was saying there is I'm just saying. Sometimes we don't want to be treated how other people want to be treated.
Yeah.
I mean, and I say that because I got a lot of friends who are like totally the ball busters. I like ball busters, but also it's like, I don't like speaking negative words. I was programmed that by my mom, and words are very powerful. Jesus talks about how powerful words are. And when we use self-deprecating humor, or we use hateful humor as humor, I don't really find it funny. I mean, some people would. And so, the golden rule, I think there's a lot of aspects to it, but I think it's basically just being the person that you say you are.
Thank you for joining us for the Healthy and Family Show. Visit our website at healthyandfamily.com. That's healthyandfamily.com to see what all the other doctors, experts, and real moms have to say about keeping your whole family healthy. This episode has been brought to you by CompleteNutro.com, Whole Family Nutrition, and aired on the Goldstone Network. People, Planet, Future.